Hey guys, it's Wiz here. It's been a long time since I posted a video here, and I'm posting this video because I have recently joined an outfit, and I applied for a position of Flight Master, so these are some tutorial videos on how to fly on PlanetSide 2. Now, I'm going to start with the basics, just the basics. There's going to be a nice little hand cam here, so you can see my keyboard, my mouse, and you're going to be able to see my reaver. I'm using the reaver because I feel like it's one of the easiest ESFs in the game to learn to fly, because you can see the jets on it. It's not too fast, and it's got some great control on it. Now, a few things to note really quick while in this video. My reaver, it's got some camo on it. Normally reavers are blue. It's also got some glamour items such as extra fins and wings. I also have a few extra items that I'll show you on my reaver that are above the default level. I have it about 17% sorted out. The build that I'm using right now, it's got some flares, which are pretty essential in the game right now, seeing as how there's a lot of air-to-air users out there, and you gotta be able to counter them if you find yourself without cover. For the defensive slot in my reaver, I like to fly with Nanite Auto Repair System, because I like to stay in the air as much as possible. What that does is it just repairs over a certain amount of time when you're not taking damage. Right now, I have mine to about 3.2% every 5 seconds. Receiving damage disables it for 12. Composite armor is also viable. It reduces flak damage for AA, which is nice for people that like to fly low to the ground. My performance slot is Racer. Now this is the most important thing when making tutorial videos, is having the dogfighting and the hover stability airframe. You'll be able to do things that you won't be able to do. So I pick Racer because basically all it does is make my reaver a little faster than yours if it's a default reaver. I do have the Vortec rotary on. I recommend purchasing that one because it just makes dogfighting a bit easier, and I use the Breaker air rockets for the sake of having extra ammunition in my reaver. I'm not sure if I'm doing live commentary or post commentary on this. Certainly by the time the video is out you will know, but for the sake of this I'm just going to do live so that I have some kind of structure. One other note to take is I have a few keys on my reaver bound separately. I have my exit the vehicle bound to U, which by default is E, which I think is silly because when you're flying, so many people accidentally hit E and you end up ejecting yourself while flying. It's not safe. I really suggest changing that, guys. I also have my vertical thrust and my decline bound to my mouse keys on the side. I have a Razer type hand, so I have 2 mouse buttons. This one's going to make me go up, this one's going to make me go down. By default, I think those are bound to control and space. I didn't really feel that was comfortable, so I changed it for mine. I know a lot of people do enjoy having them there though. A lot of people use it. Let's start with some quick little tricks that you can do in your reaver, I guess, that some people might not know. If you actually hold your middle mouse button down in your reaver, when you're in first person, you can look around your cockpit, which is just something nice. It helps sometimes when you're looking for ground troops. I got some reaver spawning over us for over reaver spawn. It's really cold in here, so sorry if I sound shaky. It's freezing. But anyways, some basic things like taking off. Now I mentioned that I have my vertical thrust bound to my mouse. To take off, you're just going to hit that vertical thrust, and now you're up in the air. Now, if you touch nothing else, you're just going to hover there. But you're going to sink. You're always going to sink. To maintain a hover, what I like to do is just tap vertical thrust every once in a while. Is just tap it. And you'll hover. You don't need to hold it. If you hold it, you're just going to keep going up. And you're going to sink. Now, like I said, if you want to sink faster, you can hit the decline button. And you're going to go down a little bit quicker. Not too fast. But that's just having control over the altitude of your reaver. I would practice with that and get comfortable with hovering. If you start to turn your reaver with nothing else, this is all with one hand right now, you can turn your mouse a little bit and then hover, and then you can turn it back and hover. I would suggest practicing this in the warp gate. It just gets you a little used to it. Left and right hovers, and then try and stop yourself. Just get used to it. Get used to your aircraft. It's the best thing to do. If you decide to go for the hover airframe, your vertical thrust is a bit more powerful. You'll go a little faster, and your stopping power is a little more powerful. So you'll stop a little quicker, but this is just important to do. Now, if we pop back in first person, you can see that there's a nice little leveler. on your aircraft. Right there in the crosshairs, if you look, it says -1. If you move, that'll change. -2, and then 1, and then it just keeps changing depending on how you're going. Now, say I'm at 4 right now, I'm hovering backwards. That's a nice little way to back up. If I want to go forwards, I can put it to a negative and hover that way. That's just a nice little way to hover forward and backward. But if you want to level it out, put it back to 0. If I can get it to 0, and then you're just going to hover straight normally. So this is hovering. It's not bad. If you want to completely flip your aircraft for some tricks, you can flip it and then hit the decline button. And since you're hovering downwards technically, you're going to maintain an upside down hover. It's useful for a few things, but that's for more advanced stuff later. Right now, if you want to practice with it, you can just hover upside down. It's nice. You'll find yourself maybe using it later when you decide to dogfight for some things. I do recommend practicing all of these techniques in the warp gate, because your Reaver cannot sustain any damage when in the warp gate as long as you're inside of it. If you exit the warp gate, you will crash and burn if you're not used to driving your Reaver. Or if you exit your Reaver and someone decides to grief it, which is pretty common in PlanetSide, your Reaver will be destroyed. And that's just not fun. Now, one other thing I am going to go over before I end this little segment of the tutorial is during your hovers, I can see you guys getting stuck upside down by accident. That's not a very fun thing to happen, and a lot of people don't know how to get unstuck. It can be tough. They want to hit the vertical thrust. It's just going to drive you into the ground more. To unflip your Reaver, you're going to want to hit the decline and then turn to a side. And it's as simple as that. This works with all ESFs. You just want to flip again, hit the decline, turn, and you'll be able to flip yourself over. Simple as that. So don't panic if you get yourself stuck upside down. Thanks for joining me on this part of the tutorial. Hopefully I get these up in a pretty fast sequence, and I'm trying to keep them short and to the point. So thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Join me on my Twitch channel if you want some live commentary or tips and tricks. It's always there. Everything's linked in the description. And I will see you guys in the next one.